The junk market on the edge of the orbital station always smelled of burned wires and cheap fried noodles. Traders shouted prices in broken standard, scraps of alien tongues mixing with human curses. Chun, a 28-year-old cargo handler, wandered through the stalls with his hands in his pockets. He had only 10 credits left, which was about $2 in station exchange. Most people would save it for food or rent, but Chun was restless. His shift had been cut short again. The company said automation upgrades, but he knew it meant fewer hours for humans like him. He needed a distraction dot at the far end of the market. Hidden under a torn canvas sheet, a tired old merchant called Zircon waved him over. Zircon was Zarkonian, tall and scaled, with a voice like gravel. Special deal, human. Old container. No one wants it. 2 credits. Chun frowned. 2 credits? What's wrong with it? Abandoned cargo. No registry tag. Could be scrap, could be treasure. You want it, you carry it. Zircon's eyes glowed faintly, as if laughing inside. Chun looked at the container. It was standard size, dull gray, with dents along the edges. A broken seal light blinked weakly. It could hold nothing but rust or something worth far more. Chun knew the rule of the junk market. Risk was everything. He dug into his pocket, handed over the last coins, and pushed the container onto a borrowed GRAV-sled dot on the way back to his small bay quarters. His neighbor Young-hoon called out, "Hey, Chun, you finally buying trash to match your life?" He laughed, but Chun ignored him. He was used to the jokes. People thought he was a dreamer, wasting money on things that never paid off. But Chun had a stubborn streak. He believed sometimes luck favored fools. Inside his bay, he hooked the container to a power line. The old locks buzzed, then clicked. The front hissed open. Cold mist spilled out. Chun stepped back. His heart slammed in his chest. 8 figures lay inside, wrapped in thin cryo sheets. Not cargo. Not machines. People. Women. Their skin shimmered in colors he had never seen. Silver blue, violet, pale gold. Some had ridges along their arms, some faint tattoos that glowed. Their faces were serene, as if sleeping. One of them stirred. A girl with long dark hair and eyes that opened bright like stars whispered, "Where are we?" Chun stumbled over his words. "You're in Dock 6 orbital station above Earth trade route." He had no idea what else to say. Not another woman moved, taller skin like crystal ice. She pulled the cryo sheet off her shoulders. "We were taken. Where is Commander Seo Yan?" From the far side of the container, a slim woman with braided hair sat up, coughing. She pressed her hand to her chest. "I am here. I thought we were lost." Chun's brain screamed to run for station security, but his heart said otherwise. He remembered the Zarkonian merchant's smirk. He hadn't sold him junk. He had sold him lives. The women looked weak, trembling from cryo-sleep. Chun rushed to his cupboard, grabbed water packs, and passed them out. "Here, drink slow. Don't choke." One with silver skin Zex studied him carefully before sipping. "Why help us? Humans usually sell what they find." Chun gave a small shrug. "Because you're alive. That's enough." The bay echoed with silence. Then Seo Yeon, the commander, nodded slowly. "You did not trade us. You may have saved us. What is your name?" "Chun." She spoke to the others in a language Chun couldn't follow. They moved closer, forming a circle around him. For a moment he felt their eyes, alien yet human, measuring him. Then the youngest one, Sarah, smiled faintly. "Thank you, Chun." The weight of their gaze made his legs shake. 8 stunning alien women, hidden in a container worth only 2 credits, now sat in his tiny bay. It felt like a dream, or maybe a trap. A loud knock shook the door. Jung-hoon's voice called, muffled but sharp. "Chun, station patrols are moving this way. Did you buy something illegal again?" The women stiffened. Seo Yen's eyes hardened. "If patrols find us, we will be taken again. We cannot return to chains." Chun's stomach turned cold. He had a choice: call patrol and hand them over, or hide them and risk everything. His eyes went to the broken seal light on the container. 2 credits had bought him trouble beyond measure. But as Sarah squeezed his hand, whispering, "Don't let them take us," Chun knew his decision was already made. He squared his shoulders, glanced at the door, and muttered to himself, "Guess I finally bought something worth the price." The knock came again, louder this time, and Chun stood ready. The pounding on the bay door grew harder. Chun's stomach twisted as red lights flickered across the corridor outside. Station patrols were sweeping, their boots heavy on the metal floor. Jung-hoon's mocking voice faded as the sound of scanners hummed closer. Inside the bay, the 8 women pressed against the shadows of the walls. Their strange features shimmered faintly in the dim light. Commander Seo Yan whispered sharp words in her own tongue, and the others grew still, watching Chun. It was clear. Their fate rested in his hands. Chun wiped sweat from his forehead. He wasn't a hero, not a fighter. He was just a cargo handler with a rented room and broken dreams. But when Sarah's small fingers gripped his sleeve, trembling, he found his voice. "Stay quiet. Don't move." He pressed the door panel and cracked it open, just enough to see a patrol officer's X, a broad-shouldered Zarkonian in black armor, visor glowing red. Zex's kind were known for being ruthless enforcers. The officer's scaled hand rested on a shock baton. "Inspection," Zex growled. Reports of unregistered cargo moved through this sector. "Open your bay." Chun forced a calm smile. "Inspection? Sure. Just tell me what you're looking for. I've only got tools and scrap. Nothing worth stealing." The officer leaned forward, nostrils flaring as if smelling fear. "Move aside, human." Behind Chun, Sarah let out a tiny cough. His heart froze. The officer's visor tilted, as if he heard. Chun stepped fully into the doorway, blocking the view. "You hear the pipes?" "They groan like that all the time," he said quickly, trying to sound casual. "This section is old. If you're looking for smugglers, check Dock 10. They bribe the guards. Everyone knows it." The officer narrowed his eyes. For a long moment, Chun thought he was finished. But then, from down the corridor, another voice barked, "Zex! We've got a lead. Move." The officer sneered. "You're lucky, human." He tapped Chun's chest with the baton hard enough to sting, but not enough to wound. Then he turned and marched away. The heavy boots faded. The patrol sweep passed. Silence returned. Chun shut the door and leaned against it, breathing hard. His legs shook. He had just lied to a Zarkonian enforcer. If they found out, he'd lose his job, maybe even his life. When he turned, all 8 women were watching him. Seo Yin's eyes softened. "You protected us. Why?" Chun rubbed the back of his neck. "Because I couldn't do nothing. People should help each other, even if it's stupid." For the first time, the commander smiled, a small, proud curve of her lips. Stupid courage can be the strongest kind. They gathered around the container. Chun fetched blankets, old but clean, and passed them out. He gave them the last of his food rations, dried noodles, and water packs. They ate carefully, whispering to one another. Chun sat down on a crate, trying to process everything. "Who are you? Why were you locked in there?" Seo Yan exchanged glances with the others before answering. "We are exiles." taken from our world by force, sold as property. Our captors used cryosleep to move us across systems. Somehow, the container was lost. You found what others would have sold again. Sarah looked at Chun, her young face lit with gratitude. Now you are our rescuer. Chun held up his hands. I'm not anyone's rescuer. I'm just Chun, a guy who works with cargo. I don't even own this bay. It's rented. Min Jun, a woman with pale green skin and sharp eyes, spoke firmly. Then we stay hidden. But we must move soon. Patrols will return. Co Yan nodded. We cannot remain here. If Zircon sold us to you, others will come looking. The name hit Chun like a hammer. Zircon. The merchant had tricked him, dumped his problem onto him for 2 credits. But now it wasn't just a problem. It was 8 lives depending on him. He stood up, pacing. All right. We need a plan. If I try to move you all through the station, people will notice. Too many patrols. Too many cameras. Jung-hoon's laugh echoed faintly from his own bay next door. Chun clenched his jaw. His neighbor loved gossip. If he guessed the truth, he'd sell it to patrols in a second. Co Yan stepped closer, her voice low but steady. We trust you, Chun. Tell us where to go, and we will follow. The words hit harder than he expected. Trust. He wasn't used to hearing that. Not from humans, let alone aliens. Chun rubbed his temples, thinking fast. His mind went back to the cold storage decks under Dock 6, the ones hardly anyone used anymore. Old, forgotten, full of broken machinery and leaking pipes. Dangerous, but hidden. All right, he said finally. I know a place. It's not safe, but it's quiet. If you can follow me without being seen, we can hide there until I figure something better out. Co Yan nodded once, like a commander receiving orders. We will. The women gathered what little Chun could spare: blankets, ration packs, a half-broken lantern. Sarah held onto his hand tightly, refusing to let go. Chun powered down the bay lights, opened a maintenance hatch, and pointed down the narrow shaft. Stay close. Don't make a sound. One by one, the women slipped into the shadows of the maintenance tunnels, their eyes glowing faintly in the dark. Chun followed last, sealing the hatch behind him. As they crept through the pipes, Chun's heart pounded with fear and wonder. Hours ago, he was just another poor dock worker. Now he was guiding 8 alien women through the underbelly of the station, hunted by patrols, trusted as their protector. He whispered to himself in the dark, 2 credits. What the hell have I gotten into? The tunnels groaned. Water dripped from broken pipes. And far above, the station's patrols searched, unaware of the small band slipping into the forgotten depths. Chun knew the easy life he once had was gone. The real story had just begun. The maintenance tunnels twisted like a maze. Chun led the way with a flickering lantern in his hand, the shadows stretching across leaking pipes and rusted bulkheads. The women followed quietly, their bare feet making little sound against the metal floor. Sarah clung to his sleeve, eyes wide, while Co Yan scanned every corner like a soldier on patrol. After nearly half an hour of crawling and climbing, Chun pushed open a corroded hatch. The air that greeted them was damp and cold. A faint hum echoed from old coolant pumps. This is it, Chun whispered. The cold decks. Hardly anyone comes here anymore. The rent's too high, and the machines keep breaking. But it'll keep you hidden. They stepped into a wide chamber filled with crates stacked like forgotten monuments. Frost glittered on pipes. The place smelled of mildew and rust, but it was dry enough. Chun cleared a space, laid down blankets, and set the lantern in the center. The women gathered close for warmth. It's not much, he admitted, but it's yours for now. Co Yan placed a hand on his shoulder. You risk much for strangers, Chun. Why? He shrugged, embarrassed. Because no one else would. Zex, the silver-skinned woman with sharp eyes, tilted her head. Most humans sell us. Why are you different? Chun sighed. I've been at the bottom, too. People walking past, pretending not to see you. I know what that feels like. So I won't do it to anyone else. The women shared glances. Minjun muttered something in their tongue, and a few nodded. Esioyan's eyes softened with respect. They settled for the night. Chun gave them the last of his ration bars and water packs. Sarah curled against him, too scared to sleep without his arm nearby. He sat awake, lantern flickering on his tired face, listening to the hum of the cold decks. Hours later, a noise broke the silence. Footsteps, not patrol boots lighter, quicker. Chun rose instantly, pulling a rusted wrench from the floor. He motioned the women to stay silent. From the shadows, Yung-hoon appeared, flashlight in hand. Chun, he whispered sharply. I knew it. You've got something here. Chun's blood ran cold. Get out. Yung-hoon's grin was thin and hungry. You always think you're better than me. But I saw the patrol searching. What are you hiding? Smuggled tech? Or people? His eyes scanned the chamber and froze on the women. His grin widened. 8 of them. Stars above. Do you know how much credits they're worth? You could buy your way off this junk station. Or sell them, and I take half. Sarah whimpered softly, and Chun stepped in front of her. They're not for sale. Yung-hoon laughed. Don't play saint, Chun. You're broke. You live in scraps. You really think you can keep them safe? The patrols will find out. Or I'll make sure they do. He turned to leave, but Chun grabbed his arm. Don't. Yung-hoon's eyes flared with greed. Then give me a cut. 10%. Or I scream right now. For a moment, Chun saw his whole life balanced on a knife's edge. His neighbor's voice could ruin everything. Seo-yan stood silently behind him, the other women watching with fear and anger. Chun's voice came out low and steady. If you open your mouth, you'll regret it. Yung-hoon sneered. You don't scare me. You've never fought anyone in your life. Seo-yan stepped forward then, her presence commanding. He does not stand alone. Her alien voice carried weight that made Yung-hoon flinch. Her glowing eyes fixed on him, cold as steel. If you betray us, human, you betray Chun. And if you betray Chun, you make an enemy of me. The chamber fell silent. Yung-hoon licked his lips nervously, then muttered, Fine, keep your secrets. But when patrols come, don't say I didn't warn you. He shoved past Chun and disappeared back into the tunnels. Chun's hand shook around the wrench. He dropped it and sat heavily on a crate, exhausted. Seo-yan knelt beside him. You showed courage. But he will not stay quiet. He will return. Chun rubbed his face. I know. We'll have to move again soon. But not tonight. You need rest. The women lay back down, though unease filled the chamber. Sarah whispered, He won't help us, will he? Chun pulled the blanket over her. No, but I will. The girl's small hand squeezed his. Then I'm not afraid. That night, Chun didn't sleep. His thoughts circled like restless ships. Zircon's smirk, Yung-hoon's threat, the patrols above. Somehow, 8 strangers had become his responsibility. He should have felt trapped. Instead, he felt something else. Purposed out at dawn. He left the women resting and climbed back to the surface levels to buy food. His credits were gone, so he traded his old wrist toolkit for a bag of bread and a jug of cheap water. As he returned through the tunnels, he heard Zircon's voice echoing near the market. Someone bought it. A human. Container went missing from Dock 6. If you find him, bring him to me. Alive. Chun froze in the shadows. Zircon was hunting him now. Clutching the bread close, he hurried back to the cold decks. As the women ate, Seo Yeon noticed the fear in his eyes. What did you hear? Chun lowered his voice. Zircon knows. He's looking for me. For us, the room went silent. Even the broken pipes seemed to stop dripping. Seo-Yeon stood tall, her voice steady. Then we are no longer hiding. We prepare. The cold decks were silent, except for the hum of old machinery. Chun paced in front of the women, his mind racing. Zircon knew. Patrols were searching. Jung-hoon was a danger. The walls were closing in. Seo-Yeon stood with arms crossed, her posture firm. If Zircon hunts us, we cannot wait here like prey. We must move or fight. Chun rubbed his temples. Fight? With what? I've got a wrench, a broken lantern, and no training except hauling crates. Patrols carry shock rifles. Hunters will carry worse. Zex, the silver-skinned woman, tilted her head. We are not helpless. Our captors kept us chained, but we were soldiers once, healers, pilots. We have skills. Sarah nodded quickly. And we have you. Chun stared at her. Me? I'm nobody. Seo Yeon stepped closer. You are the reason we are free now. You chose not to sell us. You chose to protect us. That makes you more than nobody. Her words settled deep in his chest. For the first time, Chun felt the strange weight of leadership pressing down. Before he could answer, a sound echoed through the tunnel's metallic steps, too heavy for patrols. Too light for workers. Hunters. Chun's blood went cold. They're here. He pushed the women behind stacked crates. The lantern was snuffed out. Only the glow of their alien eyes faintly lit the dark. Chun gripped his wrench until his knuckles ached. 3 figures emerged from the shadows. Not patrol. Hired hunters. Tall, armored in black plates, visors glowing crimson. Their boots splashed in shallow puddles as they scanned the room. One of them carried a shock pike, crackling with energy. Zircon's property is here, one growled. The human has it. Find them. Sarah whimpered softly. Chun stepped forward before they could notice her. His voice shook but held steady. You're in the wrong place. Nothing here but broken machines. The hunters laughed. Brave words, human? Step aside. Seo Yeon rose from the shadows. Her presence was sharp and commanding. We are not property. Leave now. The hunters froze for a moment, recognizing her. Then one spat. Seo Yeon, commander of rebels. You're worth more than the others combined. They lunged. Chun swung the wrench with all his strength, smashing the first hunter across the helmet. Sparks flew. The man stumbled but didn't fall. Another raised his pike, but Min-jung darted forward, kicking it from his grip. Her movements were quick, trained. She wasn't just a survivor. She had once been a fighter. The chamber erupted in chaos. The women fought with desperate skill, bare hands, quick strikes, coordinated shouts in their own tongue. Chun swung wildly, his body moving on fear and instinct. He blocked a blow meant for Sarah. Pain shooting through his arm got. The third hunter grabbed Seo Yeon by the throat, slamming her against a crate. You'll come back in chains. Chun's heart roared. He tackled the hunter from behind, wrench smashing against the back of the helmet. The man dropped Seo Yeon with a grunt, staggering. Seo Yeon spun, driving her knee into his gut, then struck his visor with both fists. The glass cracked. He collapsed. The fight ended as suddenly as it began. 2 hunters lay unconscious, groaning. The third crawled away, clutching his broken helmet. He hissed through cracked lips, "Zircon will burn you all." Then he vanished into the tunnels. The room fell silent again, only heavy breathing filling the air. Chun's chest heaved, his wrench slick with sweat. He looked at his bruised arm, then at the women. They were alive. Still free. Co-Yeon straightened, her eyes fierce. "You fought with us, Chun. You are one of us now." He shook his head, panting. "I'm not like you." "I'm just," Sarah interrupted, clutching his side. "You're ours. You belong with us." The words hit him harder than any hunter's strike. For years he had lived invisible, overlooked by humans, mocked by neighbors. Now 8 alien women looked at him as if he mattered. Zex examined the downed hunters. "They will not stay down for long. More will come." Chun nodded grimly. "Then we don't wait. We take the fight to Zircon before he brings the whole station on us." Yin's lips curved into a sharp smile. "Finally, words I can agree with." They gathered what little supplies they had. Chun armed himself with the shock pike dropped by the hunter. Yeon and Minjun improvised weapons from broken pipes. The others carried what they could: lanterns, tools, even stones. Before leaving, Chun looked back at the cold deck, the place that had been their fragile shelter. He whispered under his breath, 2 credits. "And now I'm going to war." The group moved into the tunnels, their eyes set on the market above, where Zircon waited. For the first time in his life, Chun wasn't just drifting. He was walking into danger with purpose, not for money or survival, but for them. The market was alive with noise and color as Chun and the women climbed out of the tunnels. Vendors shouted over each other, selling fried noodles, glowing drinks, scraps of tech. Patrol officers stood at the edges, their visors scanning the crowd. And at the center, under a striped awning, Zircon waited. His scaled arms folded, his reptilian eyes glowing with greedy patience. Beside him stood 2 fresh hunters, taller and heavier than the ones Chun had faced. Chun's heart pounded, but he walked forward anyway. The women followed in a tight circle, their eyes sharp, ready. Sarah held his hand, and that small touch steadied him more than any weapon. Zircon's mouth stretched into a cruel smile. "So the human finally crawls out. Did you think you could keep them? They are mine. They are profit. Hand them over, and I'll let you walk away with your skin intact." Chun lifted the shock pike he'd taken. The tip crackled with blue light. "They're not yours. Not anymore." Laughter rippled through the crowd. Traders and workers gathered, curious. No one had ever defied Zircon in public before. Yeon stepped forward, her voice carrying like steel. "We are not property. We are soldiers. We are free." Zircon's eyes narrowed. "You think anyone here cares about freedom? Credits rule this station, and I own the patrols, the hunters, the market. You are nothing." Chun's voice came out louder than he expected. "Maybe to you, but not to me." The hunters advanced. The crowd hushed. Then the fight exploded. One hunter swung a blade, sparks flying as it clashed against Chun's pike. Chun braced, muscles straining, teeth clenched. Yeon leapt at the second hunter, landing blows with sharp precision. Minjun struck from the side. Fast and fierce, Zircon moved through the chaos, claws out, aiming straight for Sarah. Chun saw the glint of scales and roared, slamming his pike into the first hunter's chest. The man crumpled, sparks dancing over his armor. Chun charged, tackling Zircon before he could reach her. They crashed into a stall, crates of noodles flying. Zircon snarled, his scaled strength overpowering. He slammed Chun against the metal wall. Pain shot through Chun's ribs. The pike skidded away. You are weak, human, Zircon hissed. You should have sold them and lived rich. Now you die poor. Chun's vision blurred, but he forced his words out. I'd rather die, helping them, than live like you. Zircon raised his claws for the killing strike when Seo Yan appeared, slamming a broken pipe across his head. Zircon staggered. Min Jun swept his legs. Chun grabbed the nearest crate and smashed it into Zircon's chest with all his strength. The scaled merchant hit the ground hard. The crowd gasped. Patrol officers hesitated, unsure whether to intervene. The women stood together around Chun, forming a wall. Chun, breath ragged, pointed at Zircon. You call them property, but everyone here saw they fought back. They're alive. They're people. And if this station pretends otherwise, then what does that make us? His words echoed. The crowd shifted uneasily. No one moved to help Zircon. Some even nodded faintly, muttering agreement. Zircon tried to rise, blood dripping from his scaled lip. You think this ends with me? The markets will hunt you. The guilds will... Seo Yan cut him off. Then let them come. We are not slaves. She turned to the crowd, voice sharp. Remember what you saw today. A human stood when others looked away. Who among you will say he was wrong? Silence. No one answered. The patrol officers exchanged glances. Finally, one spoke. The registry will hear of this. But today, no arrest. They turned and left. Chun's legs nearly gave out. Sarah caught his hand, tears in her eyes. You saved us? He shook his head. No, we saved each other. The women gathered close. Zex pressed a hand to his chest. From now on, Chun, you are not alone. Wherever we go, you are part of us. For the first time in years, Chun felt the weight of loneliness lift. He wasn't just a cargo worker anymore. He was something else, protector, family, part of a cause bigger than himself. They left Zircon lying broken on the market floor. The crowd parted, silent, as Chun and the women walked through together. Back in the tunnels, Seo Yan looked at him with a rare smile. 8 of us, 1 of you. And yet today, you stood taller than any commander I've known. Do not forget this, Chun. He met her eyes, exhausted but steady. I won't. 2 credits brought me here. But what I found is worth more than anything. The women settled in the cold decks once again, but now the air was different. No longer fear, but hope. Chun sat with Sarah asleep at his side, the others speaking softly around the lantern glow. For the first time in his life, he didn't wonder what tomorrow would bring. He only knew this. He wouldn't face it alone.